If you don't like your life or some aspect of it, why don't you change it? Like, why don't people change their life? Why do people do something that they clearly hate doing and then decide, well, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life? To me, that does not make sense. And some of us, we're lamenting our lamentations, and we're cursing our curses, and we're so cursing our curses, and we're so burdened by our burdens that what we don't do is we don't gain strength from them and realize, hey, I've got to make my life better. This is the catalyst. This is the fuel. This is the inspiration. This is the motivation. This is the thing that's letting me know I can't stay here for the rest of my life. So why don't people change it? Like Frederick Douglass changed. He didn't go from being a slave to being free. He went from being a slave, he bought his freedom, had it stolen from him, bought it again, had it stolen from him, bought it again. He had to buy his freedom 3 times. He became an emancipator. He went around giving speeches and was instrumental in ending antebellum slavery in the United States of America. He gained an audience with the Queen of England and the President of the United States. This is a kid who was born a slave. And then we think we have an excuse. Well, maybe we don't have an excuse, but the actual reason is we don't take reading as seriously as Frederick Douglass did. Because maybe the very same reading dynamic that gave Frederick Douglass the awareness to make a decision and set an intention to change his life, maybe he found it in the pages of something he read. Myron, what are you saying? The book you don't read can't help you. If you read it, it might not help you. But if you don't read it, it ain't going to help you. And so why is it that some people, their lives change? Because some people care enough to change their lives. Some people are like, okay, life, put up your dukes. I got to wrestle it from you. Let's wrestle. What we got to put on the boxing gloves. Let's put on the gloves. Like, whatever we've got to do, it's worth it. Like, when I look in the faces of my children, I could not look at them and tell them you can do anything you want to do and you can be anything you want to be while they watch me do nothing and be nothing. No, that's not going to be how this story plays out. I'm going to demonstrate to them that the words that I come out of my mouth are not do what I do, not as I say, do what I do, but even more so do what I say, but even more so do what I do. Like the Apostle Paul said, the things that you've both heard and seen in me, do. Oh, Paul set the example. So Oprah Winfrey, they said she was unfit for television. But now she owns her own network. Why? Because she was unwilling to accept that, so she was willing to fight for it. So, why don't people change their lives? That's the question. Why don't they? Why haven't I changed my life more? Why haven't you changed your life more? Why haven't we changed our lives more? Well, I think one reason people don't change their lives is because they don't think they can. They bought into the lie of the identity. What's the lie of the identity? All of us have had people in our lives at some point in our lives in the past tell us that we are not enough, something enough. Not tall enough, not short enough, not pretty enough, don't sing good enough, don't dance good enough, not smart enough, not strong enough, not coordinated enough. You are not enough. We've all heard it. If you buy that lie, it'll cost you too much. Because that has never been the message that God has given you. In fact, you are enough for the assignment for which he created you. And that's all that matters. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And so if you buy into the identity, it could literally cost you everything. Okay, cool. So you've got people think they can't change their lives. That's one reason they don't change. Number 2, they don't know how. And I get it, because I always believed I could change my life. But I can't think of a time when I've ever believed, my life is not going to get better. I've always believed it. But for a long time, I believed it and I didn't know how to do it. So guess what? My belief in the fact that I could do it caused me to keep looking for answers to how to do it. See, if you don't believe you can do it, you don't have a reason to look. So people who don't believe they can do it are not going to look for the answers to how they can do it, so they never change their lives. They just keep on living Groundhog Day. Every day is just like yesterday, and the day before, and the day before, and the day before, and they put their days on rinse and repeat until they die. So most people really never live. They just exist their way through life. People say, what do you do for a living? That's a really lame question. What do you do for a living? Let me ask you a more valuable question, if I may. What do you do while you're living? What do you do while you're living? Because most people do something for a living and do nothing while they're living. But I believe that the quality of a person's life is not measured by the number of years of experience a person has doing a thing, but by the number of experiences we put in those years. How many experiences? Like I want to max out all of my experiences of all my days every day. They don't think they can. They don't know how. So because I believed I could, I looked everywhere. I'm still for them. I'm grateful for them, but they are not enough. Why? Because I was commanded by God to be progressively productive, which means I'm supposed to be getting better every day. Okay. So they don't know how. They don't believe they can. Sad but true. They're afraid to leave the familiar behind. They're afraid that if I change and nobody changes with me, I'll be all by myself. That's real talk. If I change and my kids don't change, now my kids are going to be alienated. If I change and my friends don't change, now my friends are going to think I think I'm better than they do. If I change and my brothers and my siblings and my parents and my family doesn't change, now I'm going to be by myself in the world. If that's the price you have to pay to be progressively productive, I'm telling you, pay the price.